ready? Are you 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 ready to get it? You ready for war? Live is back, are you ready for more? The waiting is over, it's time to get poppin'. We all wanna win it, just cash in the pocket. BB alive, nothing can top it. Fantasy's back, football's the topic. 50 down for 50 in profit. Boss at the top and we all wanna drop. I'm taking the spot, bury the coffin. Time for the action, enough for the talk. Time to get crackin', live is back. And speaking the facts, the champ is bossing back to back. Don't have it that often, enjoy the throne. It's time to get off and welcome back. It's time to get started, time for the weak and the strong to be part. We're all in the war, fight to the finish. Mad about trades, but it's part of the business. Do what you need, it's all about winning. Try to be king on the division. Wanna be champ, that is the mission. Why with the flow? This is tradition. Ready to go, time for the show. Roll your bloods, get ready to blow. Get ready to hear the good and the bad. You might not agree, but it's only on facts. If you get ugly, yeah, that means you're whack. Geno and Matt, finally we're back. Analyzing and sharing the stats, giving opinions and checking the facts. Keep it six, built to the draft. A league of 10, let's see who can last if your team stinks and belongs in the trash. Race to the end, try not to crash. No one agrees, all of us clash. Something like Titans, fighter gets smashed. You better contend if you wanna be champ. If you won't pay attention, you don't have a chance. No chance to win if you don't have a plan. Get a chance at the shit, better win if you can. Yeah, PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready.
PPL Live, week 13. 2 weeks left in the regular season. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving break. Your man is here, Geno the Gent here with my man Ulysses S.A. Give him a what's up, Ulysses.
What's up, PPL?
Yep, we're here, we're ready. You know what it is. It's time to jump into our new week. But before we do that, let's go back to our scores over our turkey tussle. Starting with the Argonauts winning a huge matchup to get closer to the playoffs. Keep squad underestimated on the loser circle. 139 to 109. The Gaff gets the big win. Gives the Baby Gas team the #1 overall pick. 140 to 128. The United Playas, the Destroyers, get the win. Clinch the playoff spot. Get in over Appease the Gods. 110 to 102. Only for the boss. Leaves no doubt. I don't know how many times it is, Ulysses, but it's a bunch. 155 to 126 over Trey Fitty and Patty's Twins. 4 straight. Beat the Skulls 135 to 113. Alrighty, PPLers, we're going to get into our final standings projections presented by Snickers. Starting at number 10, the Baby Gas team. Number 9, the Gaff, the 2 top picks in the draft. 8, Appease the Gods. At 7, we've got Patty's Twins. 6, I Need About Trey Fitty holding on. At 5, we've got Squad Underestimated starting to drop. What's going on? At 4, the Argonauts. 3, we got the United Playas, the Destroyers, who clinched the playoff spot. At 2, we've got the Skulls, still pretty high. And at number 1, who else? Mr. Leave No Doubt themselves. Only for the boss. What do you think of these projections, man?
I mean, generally agree. Skulls don't understand it. I mean, I've got this team way less than 2 spots.
Right, yeah.
After falling out of the playoffs. And I think that there's still a lot of teams in that 7 through 5 range that are probably still to be decided.
Okay.
But overall, Snickers, they're on to what's up, which is only for the boss, holding it down at number 1.
No, definitely, man. You got to go with only for the boss. There's no question there. And speaking of what's good in the league, let's find out what's good. But let's also find out what's bad and what's ugly. Alrighty, Ulysses, you know what it is. Give me your good, bad, and ugly for week 12 of the turkey tussles. And also prognosticate a little bit, brother. Give me a little bit of a forecast with your good, bad, and ugly into why you think it's so good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Patty's Twins.
Okay.
I was giving this team a little bit of shade last week. And
right.
They quietly shut me and the rest of the league up. Quietly being the second hottest team in the PPL. Winners of 4 straight. You said it earlier. I mean, a month ago, I had this team dead in the water.
Yeah.
Playoffs? What playoffs? Nah, man. These guys are really turning it around. and I love the Geno Smith start.
Okay.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, looking at the final scoreline, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
However, it was a gutsy play at the time, and again, they got to get away from Aaron. It ain't what it used to be.
Yeah.
This used to be an easy lock start, but again, Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Keenan Allen even got in the end zone. Among St. Brown, I mean, she got it everywhere except for Jawan Johnson.
Yeah.
And again, getting a coach win on Thursday night, okay, it's a good week. What makes this a great week, and as you say, prognosticate, is, I mean, this team's really, I think, set to lock a playoff position up next week.
Okay.
I mean, they got the Gap, a team that they can and did handily beat earlier in the season. I mean, Gap had a big week.
Yeah.
But I think the Twins really could lock a position, and really with how things are shaking up in Omega,
yeah,
she could still win
the
title outright
if
things go wrong for some other teams. So it was a great week for Patty's Twins. Hats off to what they're doing out there.
Definitely.
And again, putting it together in November when you need to make a playoff push.
No, definitely, man. They've been to the last two Pantheon Cups, won the Pantheon Cup 2 years ago. So, no, definitely. We know that the Patty's Twins is a team to be reckoned with in the PPL throughout its history, the first ever champ, and showing why they are so renowned in the PPL. Who's your bad?
My bad. I mean, again, I have to say that this bad comes with a little bit of an explainer, and it's I need about trade fitting.
Okay.
Again, I didn't expect them to beat only for the boss.
Right.
I mean, hell, they put up a respectable scoreline in this match.
Right. So why bad?
Again, why bad? Losers of 2 straight puts them in a position where they've still got a playoff spot, but they really need to win a game down the stretch to solidify it.
Right.
Again, just losing games at the wrong time.
Yeah.
However, and why it's only bad is I think they get right next week.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, definitely.
You look at Baby Gasking, and I think if they win that game, they're likely to be able to hold on to a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't ugly. It was just bad. They could have had a better showing. I mean, again, this was the only blemish on Only for the Boss's record. So they were the only ones up until last week
that could beat them.
Who could really get at Only for the Boss. No longer the case.
Right.
So I need about Trey Fitty. It's a bad week, but hey, I think they bounced back after it.
All right, man. So let's hear your ugly.
Ugly. I mean, again, it was season of no excuses 2.0, and I think we're probably starting to point some fingers. With squad underestimated.
Okay.
I mean, again, Kyler actually had a good game.
Yeah.
Back in the starting, but that's about it. I mean, pretty underwhelming performances down the line when you are looking at what the Argos had been doing, putting up leave no doubt type performances out there. I mean, again, there were better options than Jeff Saturday's Colts. I mean, there were better options that were a lock.
I thought they had I think they had the Bengals coach in already, so they already had a winning coach.
And so there it is, back-to-back weeks where your decisions are ultimately hindering you. I mean, again, still not getting any production at the tight end position. It's really the only position he hasn't tried to trade or upgrade in a meaningful way.
Right.
And let's talk about this again. Why this is ugly. At 7-5, squad has lost 3 in a row. And when you look at what's coming up for squad,
Okay.
Only for the Boss. I don't have to win that game. That's 4 in a row. Okay. Falling down to potentially out of playoff standings. And then who do you got? The last week, Skulls, a team that's going to be fighting for playoff position, has my MVP candidate Josh Allen on their squad.
Right.
So squad's really looking at a scenario here where they could potentially lose out and miss the playoffs. Again, it's an outside chance.
Right.
You know, Snickers don't think it's going to happen. He's got a 94% playoff percentage, but again, that's
got to win.
Him winning winning at least one of these 2 next matchups, and I don't think he can beat Only for the Boss, not the way that this team's playing right now.
I mean, there's a chance.
I mean, there's absolutely a chance, but Geno,
yeah,
are you going to pick him to win?
I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I get you, man. I get you. It is what it is. Squads, I mean, the matchup still got to be played. On my end, man, my good for this week is I'm going to go into the Omega Conference. And I'm going to give the United play as they do, because I've been on them pretty tough this last couple of weeks. But I was also in their corner earlier in the season. But they were the second team to clinch a playoff spot in the PPL. Still on track to win the Omega Conference title with that victory. So hats off to the United players. All they got to do is win one more matchup. And they win the Omega Conference. So whether they win this week or next week, the United players will lock up a first-round bye. So that they had a great week. Got a win in a matchup I didn't expect them to win. So and I had picked against them. So for them to get that win, hats off to them. But they got to win one of these next 2 just to lock up that first-round bye, which I think they're definitely going to need to have any chance of winning the Pantheon Cup. My bad, man, is the Skulls, and they might have dropped the ball on the playoffs. I mean, they are now on the outside looking in. They're sitting at the 7th spot, and this is a team that has, I mean, I hate to kick a man when he's down, but this is the second year in a row that they faded down the stretch going into the playoff situation. Now, they aren't out yet. But last year they were in this exact same situation and weren't able to come up with the victories. I think that won't be the case this year, but that's why it's only a bad situation. But they've just got to learn to do better. I mean, let's just remember how this team came into the league. The first year they were in the Final Four and were up on the Argonauts, looking like they were going to come in and run the league. So this is a team that has, started very strong, has shown at times very great decision making, and has had great victories on the field, great comebacks, great everything, but they just have not been able to consistently put it together. And if they can't figure out a way, this season may slip away on the Skull. So they're my bad. And man, my ugly, I hate to do it, but I gotta go there, and I'm gonna hit up on Appease the Gods, man. It looks like it could be over. They're at 19% now on their playoff chances, according to the app, and it really just comes down to the fact that they just let so many close matchups slip away, including this week. This was a must win. This wasn't just for this week. This was for almost, I felt like, their season, and they knew that going into this matchup, and they just couldn't find a way to get it done in a game that they only lost by 8 points. So there was something there that could have got it done for them, but they just couldn't figure it out. And it looked like that something was probably going to be Brian Robinson Jr., a guy that they coveted in the PPL draft. And things never came together for them, and that's why they're my ugly. They still have an outside chance. I mean, they can win 2 and get a lot of help and get in, but I mean, the chances of that are slim to none. And they've got a really tough matchup with the Skulls. It doesn't get very easy for them. And this is a team that I expected a lot from with the guys that they got. And they've gotten some great performances from those guys this year. And it just sucks that they haven't been able to put it all the way together to get there. So they're my ugly, because it looks like things could be spiraling out of control for Appease the Gods. With that being said, it's time to jump into Week 13. That's the past. The past is prologue. It's time to jump into our Week 13 matchups as we start in Alpha Conference matchup. We start in a big game for I Need About Trey Fitty as he takes on the Baby Gas team. All right, man, so we got a big one here for Trey Fitty. They win this matchup, they can pretty much lock up a playoff spot. The Baby Gas team has not looked interested in setting the lineup the last few weeks. It looks like this should be a cakewalk into the playoffs, although Trey Fitty better beware. Joe Burrow or Josh Jacobs can put up a 50-point game and account for like 2 guys and maybe make this close, man. What do you think? Trey Fitty kind of falling back into the pack. That projection's not high. looks like they're deciding not to go without a coach, being that they are playing the Baby Gas team who has a bunch of guys out and on buys. What do you think of this one, man? BGT, Trey Fitty.
Yeah, I mean, I think I need about Trey Fitty gets and,
okay.
And
yeah.
For all the reasons you said, I mean, it's just going to be apathy on the Baby Gas team. I mean, there is a strong likelihood that this team only fields 8. DJ Moore's on the bye. I'd be surprised if we see any action there. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's on the IR.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, you said it. I don't think he really is going to do much there. Where I think at least I need about Trey Fitty. He's going to play this a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, I think that he's going to probably get it in a similar fashion. I mean, it doesn't need to be sexy here.
Right.
And I think he does just enough. Again, with Dak Prescott in Dallas, I think that they can really get at Indy.
Okay.
And again, I think you hit it. Joe Burrow and Josh Jacobs have to have outstanding games.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Is it even likely? Sure. I'm just not really loving the rest of the lineup, especially with playing a few men down. So I'm not going to give too much more to this one.
Right.
I need about Trey Fitty gets into the playoffs with this win. Goes 103 to the Baby Gas team's 84.
No, I'm with you, man. I don't think there's much to talk about here. Trey Fitty's got a lineup of respectful players. I like Dak's matchup. I like Etienne going up against Detroit. Rashad White for Tampa Bay is starting to really get a lot of shine there. And he'll be there to close it out for him on Monday night. Jalen Waddle against the 49ers is a good matchup for him. Quiet is kept. And let's talk about Garrett Wilson. I've been calling this dude Jabril Wilson for weeks. My bad. This guy's name is Garrett Wilson. And I had told Trey Fitty to bench him for Treylon Burke. Now, Treylon did have a good game. He did get in the end zone on a fumble recovery and had about 7 or 8 catches. But Wilson actually went off. So hats off to Trey Fitty for that call. But in the end, it wasn't good enough to get pass only for the boss. I think it'll be good enough this week to play a Baby Gas team that doesn't look like they're very interested at all. I got Trey Fitty getting this one 108 to the BGT's 76. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into the Omega Conference for a crucial game for one team and a game that the other team would love to play, spoil sport. We got a blood feud from the Omega Conference of years past. We got the Gaff Attack taking on Patty's Twins. All right, we got the 2 most decorated teams in Omega Conference history squaring off in this one, Ulysses. The Gaff Attack comes in, just coming off of basically 2 straight victories. They're actually kind of hot here. They got a win over the United Players, the Destroyers, and then they got another win over the Baby Gas team. Now they get Patty's Twins, who is the hottest team outside of the Only for the Boss, with their 4 straight wins. What do you think of this one, man? Gaff, Patty's Twins.
I love this matchup, and I don't understand. I mean, again, it's such a sad thing that the Gap isn't in better position, because this should absolutely be the prestige matchup of the week, given the history of these franchises in the PPL and with what they tend to bring to their matchups. And I think he does it. I think he plays a bit of a spoiler sport, not knocking the Twins out of the playoffs, but adding a little stress. I think the Twins still get in the end. But listen, I'm looking at what Gaff is bringing here, and look, you look at the points rankings. By this point in the season, you kind of know what guys are. He's not starting anybody outside of the top 20. Okay,
very true.
You look at the averages here. His lineup right now averaging 127 over the season. Twins is 116.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking that what we're seeing is that there's a lot of guys on Philly. Antonio Gibson's definitely getting half the share, and the Giants of late have not looked great. Kenneth Walker should have a field day against that Rams team. Again, I think same with Seattle. I love the lineup that he has.
Yeah.
And the Eagles should get Tennessee. I mean, I see no reason why the Gap can't put up a high score line. I look at the other side. The Twins are going to go with Geno Smith again this week. And I think actually it's a bad call, because if Aaron can go, Aaron's playing the Chicago Bears in Chicago.
Yeah. No, very
Let's
true.
remember what Aaron and how Aaron feels about
the
Chicago Bears.
He's injured though.
So I mean, he's injured though, but again, I think Geno's a good enough start here. I think Geno's not necessarily the problem. Austin Eckler, I think Jonathan Taylor. I get down this roster and I'm worried about guys' longevity and where they are here.
Okay, that's fair.
You get like a Foster Moreau in the lineup. I'm not so sure I'd be trusting Derek Carr at this point, but again, people are struggling at the tight end position.
Right.
And I'm just saying this should absolutely be the billing of the week. I think both coaches win. I think that both teams really give the PPL something to talk about. I think maybe the gap gives us a little bit of a look into what next season could look like.
Okay.
And again, I think that he just wins a really competitive matchup that is going to be more reflective of the talent, not the records of these two teams.
Okay.
And I think the GAF puts out a good performance, going 133 to Patty's Twins 129.
Alrighty. I'm going the other way, man. The Twins are hot, and they're playing well. And they're even projected to win the matchup. I'm looking at Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and Foster Moreau in one of the highest over-unders of the season in that Raiders-Charger game. I think it's at about 52. A lot of games haven't gotten that high this year. A lot of the games have hovered around in the 40s. So that game is projected to have a high score line, and those guys are the go-to guys on that Charger offense. Those guys are going to get fed. And one or both of them could score. Foster Moreau is the longer that he plays with Derek Carr, the more familiar he gets with him. He actually is Carr loves the tight end, so he's actually a good play on his end. I'm a little worried about the George Pickens play. I like George Pickens' potential over the longevity, but I think the Twins have some other options that they may be able to exercise. On the GAF side, I'm with you, man. I do love their matchups. I'm not gonna front on that. I love Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown against the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans have surrendered one of the highest quarterback ratings in the league based on their cornerback play. So A.J. Brown is actually coming back to his former team. This has gotten shit all over him, written all over it for the GAF at that position, and I think that that's going to be a good thing for those individual players. But I don't necessarily know if Philly's going to walk away with that matchup. That Philly defense is starting to leak. We saw Jordan Love come in there and throw 65-yard strikes. It makes no sense what's going on with the Philly defense right now. So I'm a little worried about Philly from that regard. On the Twins side, and in respect with the GAF and the Seattle matchup as well, Aaron Donald is out of that matchup. So I actually like the Geno Smith play even more. The Rams are actually pretty solid against the run, but they've struggled against the pass. So I think that Geno can actually have a pretty good game. Now DK can mitigate that. But Geno's been able to spread the ball out to other options, and this could be a big week for Tyler Lockett because DK Metcalf is going to draw Jalen Ramsey, and although he gives up plays, he's still a top 5 corner in the league. I do like T.J. Hawkinson; he's a great play, and I like CeeDee Lamb for Dallas on Sunday night. But the Twins have Jonathan Taylor there to check that, and I just think that they find a way to get the win. I got Patty's Twins getting by the GAF in this one, 129 to the GAF's 126. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a matchup that this was the one that I thought was going to be the prestige matchup of the week. I expected an Alpha Conference Championship match. Instead, Only for the Boss has long clinched the Alpha Conference title, and Squad Underestimated is looking to keep their season alive. We got Only for the Boss taking on Squad Underestimated. Alrighty, Ulysses, man, I basically broke it all down there. Only for the Boss, Squad Underestimated. Like I said, I thought that this one was going to be the one. It's not. What do you think of this Squad Only for the Boss?
Yeah, I mean, I know I hit on this on my ugly. I don't think Squad has a chance, really. I mean, I can't. I mean, obviously I could be wrong, but as I'm looking at these two teams, I mean, Only for the Boss, #1 team in the PPL in many statistical categories.
Yeah.
The one that matters, though, overall score.
Yeah.
Squad #3, respectable, right?
Right.
You look at week to week. I'm gonna throw some at you, Geno.
Yeah.
Two out of 12 weeks. If these two teams went head to head, Squad would have won.
Only 2.
Only 2 weeks.
Oh.
So even though they're the third highest scoring team, they can't pace Only for the Boss. In fact, the whole PPL really can't seem to keep pace with Only for the Boss.
Yeah.
And so when I look at this, his team's, he's going full strength.
Yeah.
Mahomes, Nick Chubbs, Miles Sanders, Stephon Diggs. Debo's the only guy that maybe has an injury. He's sticking with this double type formation.
And it's working.
Why wouldn't he? It's working. Again, the one challenge here is this Chiefs-Cincy matchup, which, again, initial impression like, oh, Cincy can get at them. But what that means to me, if Cincy wins this game, it's going to be a high-scoring affair.
High.
Yeah, I don't know what the over-under is. You could drop that when you're going to give me your retort here, Gino. But I'm guessing it's up there this week.
Right.
I look at the other side, man. Justin Fields coming off that injury down the stretch. I think Chicago's foolish if they even play him at this point. Like, this guy's clearly going to be the focal point of your team. Don't throw him away on a season that's out of reach.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, again, I think that we'll see him go. David Njoku, though, that injury has been lingering. And again, I could see him go out there, get banged up, and then he's done for the day.
Yeah.
Again, this position has plague squad underestimated. Alvin Kamara at Tampa Bay, I mean, could it go off? Sure.
Yeah.
Again, he's rolling hard on the Browns at Houston, which, again, not a bad call.
Right.
But this team just seems to have bad things happen to it. And watch Houston go off this week. I'm just saying, I ain't hoping for squad.
Right.
I don't want to see it. I picked this team to win the title this season.
Right.
But man, I'm getting real nervous down the stretch for squad. Looking at a very good Only for the Boss team. Again, when these two teams played last time, squad put up 147 and still lost by 40 points.
Yeah.
I've got Only for the Boss doing what they do, leaving, no doubt. And I've got them going 156 to squad's 131.
All right, man. That's a high projection, Ulysses. I'm looking at this matchup, and I mean, you acting like there is no chance. And I think that there's an opening for squad underestimated, but I'm still going to go with Only for the Boss at the end of the day. I just love Nick Chubb's matchup, man. He's got Houston this week. Nick Chubb might go for 30 this week, just based on that matchup, and that's just him alone. Miles Sanders has a great matchup. Stephon Diggs against New England, he can get the party started. New England's not the same defense it used to be, and Josh Allen has been able to toy with Bill Belichick's defense in the past. I think Stephon Diggs is in for another good day. Debo may be a little banged up, but I mean, let's just get to the nitty gritty of what we're really talking about. Cincinnati and Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is not going to get shut down. We know this. He's not going to get shut down. He might slow down for a quarter and then heat up, but they're not going to. That defense is not good enough to shut him down. Yes, it is on the road. The only thing, squad got to pray for like a snowstorm to hit Cincinnati, and even then, Mahomes and Kelsey might still light them up. On squad side, I do like Christian McCaffrey to come back. I know he had a little knee irritation, but he should be able to bounce back in a plus matchup against the Miami Dolphins. And they're going to try to keep that Miami offense off the field. And Christian's going to be a big part of that. I expect him to have a very, very good game. I think Saquon Barkley's also due for a bounce back. But I don't know about even playing Justin Fields. I think this squad had picked up Trevor Lawrence. They may want to go there against Detroit, but Lawrence is so up and down, I can understand if they didn't want to do that. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a little bit too much. I do like Alvin Kamara just as a late play, maybe not a great play, but a good late play to have on Monday night. But he was fumbling all over the field in San Francisco, so I don't even know about that. At the end of the day, I do know that Only for the Boss is going to bring it, and they're going to probably bring it to the tune of about 141 to squad underestimated 124. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into an eliminator in the Omega Conference. A big one as far as how the playoffs will shake out. We've got Appease the Gods taking on the Skulls. All right, man, so ATG Skulls. ATG was my ugly. The Skulls were my bad. I got love for both these teams, but things are not looking good for either one right now. But hey, the good news for both of them, is one of them's got to win this matchup, man. What do you think about this? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Got some studs in this one, man. ATG skulls.
Yeah, I mean, again, another one that early on in the season I'd have been like, man, this could have been a prestige matchup that these guys would have it not to be the case.
Right.
And I think that last week was really the death knell of Appease the Gods. Trust me, they were my honorable mention, but in my mind, they had already fallen out of favor, and so that's why I had to go with Squad.
Okay.
Again, I think they still have a lot to play for.
Yeah.
Appease the Gods were done. Again, a loss against a team that was very beatable last week.
Right.
Again, not good, but again, also agree with the points you made with your bad with the Skulls. This team's been very streaky, and again, let's hope that they don't continue the slide. And I don't think that they do.
Okay.
Again, I think Josh Allen still is the MVP on that Buffalo squad.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to have to show that this week, though. And he's playing New England. And again, New England has shown the ability to be shut down. But, I mean, again, we also saw what the Vikings did last week, and they got exposed a little bit.
Yeah.
And trust me, Buffalo's going to be taking notes.
Yeah.
The other side, there's just too many questions for me around ATG squad. You know, which Lamar is going to come out here? Joe Mixon coming off of an injury. Brian Robinson's getting in the lineup, which I actually like this week.
Okay.
But I'd be surprised if Mike Evans stays in the lineup. I think ATG's just getting frustrated with Mike Evans' inconsistency.
Right.
And a guy like Joshua Palmer looks like he may be stepping into a role where even he might be under keeper consideration just if he starts to develop rapport with Herbert. We'll
right. Yeah, he's looking real good.
I just don't think that ATG can score here. I mean, and keep pace with some of these other guys.
Yeah.
Again, you look at the other side, Josh Allen, Aaron Jones should have a great game. Ramondre should be a key facet. I mean, he's quietly become a top 10 running back.
Yes.
And definitely a keeper for the Skulls.
Oh, no question.
Jamar Chase is getting back into the lineup, and like you said, that should be a game where he factors, especially if scoring is happening. Again, gotta love Amari Cooper going to Houston. Everybody's been having their way.
Right.
McLaurin, again, with the quarterback change in Washington, has been the feature receiver. And the Bills should win. So I just see that this as a game of huge import. Again, Appease the Gods going to essentially play spoilers for here. Yes, it would put them into better in the hunt status, but really the Skulls need this win to keep pace, and I think they do. And again, sets up a very intriguing Week 14 matchup against Squad Underestimated.
Wow.
With the playoff spot very much likely on the line.
Oh man, I think you might have, yeah.
Yeah, and so I've got the Skulls going in a competitive game here. I'm going to say that they get 119, and I think Appease the Gods gets 112.
Man, you know what, man? I'm gonna go the other way because I just feel like this is that weird kind of matchup where who we expect to win won't win the matchup. Or this will probably blow up in my face and it'll be another matchup that I pick wrong. But at the moment, I'm looking at Lamar against Denver. Denver's starting to lose heart. We got guys yelling at the quarterback walking off the field when they've only got 1 sack all year. It's just total dysfunction in Denver. And I think Lamar and company need to get back on track. They let the Jacksonville Jaguars left a sour taste in their mouth. 27-28. Winning by 1 point. Lamar's going at it with guys on Twitter. I think he's going to come out fully motivated to have himself a good game. I feel ATG's frustration with Mike Evans, but at the same time, he lives to play Marshawn Lattimore and the New Orleans Saints. He loves this matchup. I think that if ATG wants to send him out to pasture after this matchup, totally understand. But I would be interested to see what Mike's going to try to bring out on Monday night against the Saints and Lattimore. Guys, he's ready to fight out there. I agree with you on Palmer. Palmer's looking better and better by the week, and he's getting better and better with Herbert. Palmer was a dark horse early in draft season, and he didn't come on until after the injuries really settled in. But he's really found his way into Herbert's view. Mark Andrews is a good play, and I really like that as a good one. And then Latavius Murray, he really showed some spring in his step still. That guy's always been a really, really good athlete, and he's a good play also against Baltimore. Baltimore's not stopping people the way they used to. The Skulls on their end, I do love Josh Allen against the Patriots. He's one of those few quarterbacks that I think likes playing the Patriots. It's kind of weird. And Jamar Chase comes back into the lineup against a Kansas City defense that I think is ranked in the bottom half of the league as far as giving up points to receivers. I think Jamar's in for a great game. You talked about Ramondre. I agree with you there. Amari Cooper at Houston. Amari's doing a little bit better on the road. So and this is the first game with Deshaun Watson. So it's going to be a very interesting game in Houston. That's why it's kind of weird how that was going to play out. That's going to be very interesting to see now that that's really came into my mind. McLaurin against the Giants. I don't know what to expect from McLaurin on a week-to-week basis. He's hard to trust. I would probably just stick with Olave on Monday night if I was the Skulls. But at the end of the day, McLaurin is the better player at the end of the day. In the end of the day, I think Appease the Gods finds a way to sneak by the Skulls. I'm going to inverse your score. I'm going to go ATG 119, the Skulls 112. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week. We've got a big one for both of these teams, a huge one for both of these teams. The last time these teams have played in a matchup of this kind of important, it was for the Pantheon Cup title. We got a Pantheon Cup basically rivalry between these two teams. A rematch of Pantheon Cups 5 and 11, both wins by the Argonauts. We've got the United Playas, the Destroyers, taking on the Argonauts. All right, man, so basically both of these teams need this matchup. The Argonauts need this matchup to basically, I wouldn't say it would lock up a playoff spot, but it would go a long way towards them feeling like they could make the playoffs. For the United Players, the Destroyers, a win in this one, and they're the Omega Conference champions, and they get that crucial first-round bye, man. What do you think of this one? Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Derrick Henry, and Dalvin Cook. We got United Players, the Destroyers, taking on the Argonauts.
I mean, you said it all there. I mean, this is a must-win for both for the reasons mentioned. I mean, the United Players have been in a position to lock up Omega for several weeks, and finally look to be able to do that.
Right.
Argos, like I said, they are, as you mentioned, you know, they moved into playoff standing with that win last week. So it ain't a matter of locking playoff. They have to win to maintain that 6th spot.
Exactly.
Skulls is right behind them.
Right.
Thinking that they're going to get ATG and reclaim that. If that flips with a win-loss within those matchups. So absolutely pivotal matchup, like
Definitely.
you said, of that import, because again, they're fighting, and really UP needs that first round bye.
Yeah.
This team's scoring has fallen off precipitously, largely driven by injury. Losing Cooper Kupp. Leonard Fournette has been banged up down the stretch. Mike Williams has not been in the lineup. These are guys that he absolutely needs. And again, why I have this as a lock of the week for the Argos is DeAndre Hopkins isn't playing. And that was really, to me, going to have to be his X factor. I'm looking at his lineup right now. There's no, to me, just big picture scoring threat that can really match the tempo that we're going to see on the other side. Maybe Derrick Henry. But again, he's playing a Philly defense that, like you said, looks like they can absolutely be exposed. But we'll see what happens. I mean, it's at Philly, not a friendly playing surface, not a friendly environment to be in. I'm not worried about DeAndre. I'm not worried about Juju, Gesicki, Julio. I'm not worried about these guys. I look at the other side. Justin Herbert at Las Vegas, that game should be high scoring.
Yeah.
You know, you look at what Dalvin and Justin did last week against New England. There's no reason they can't do that against the Jets. Tony Pollard's the feature back, and Argo did a masterful trade piece, getting rid of Ezekiel Elliott, getting Tony Pollard. So, I mean, essentially just kept the back in season. I mean, again, just masterful management. Devontae, Dalton Schultz finally had a week last week.
Big week.
T. Higgins, I think, will be involved. There's just not enough star power on the other side. Again, Destroyers have faded off. Argo have gotten hot. This team is going to, again, I think, lock this one down. I have them winning, even when United Players reconfigures their lineup. I don't think that they can hang, and I've got the Argos going 136 to the UP's 120.
All right, man. I'm going to agree with you. At the end of the day, I think the Argonauts find a way to get this matchup. I'm looking at Tom Brady on Monday night against New Orleans. This has been probably one of the toughest seasons of Tom's career. Let's just call it what it is. And the last time that they played the New Orleans, he had 8.4. Of course, he has picked up the play since that time in the season, but he's not the 30-point guy that he's been over years past. Now, could that happen? I mean, it's Tom Brady. At any moment, he could go off. So that's definitely not nothing to sneeze at. But on the other side, like you said, Justin Herbert, he's coming into form. Keenan Allen's health is a huge boom for his production. It just opens up the entire offense because it gives Justin that safety blanket he knows he can always check down to with Eckler, and knowing he has Keenan on the other side of that. At the running back spots, I mean, Derrick Henry is basically one of the best in the game. I believe he's still ranked, third in the league overall. Now, he is somewhat matchup dependent at times. If the matchup does get away from Tennessee and Philly's able to jump all over them, I'm with you, man. I don't know. He might not even be a huge factor in that matchup. Dalvin Cook against the Jets, he needs a bounce back. Most of the, like you said, him and Justin did the lion's share of the damage last week for that duo. But Dalvin needs a bounce back against the Jets defense. I think that he can have some success against. Tony Pollard was also quiet on Thanksgiving. But Devontae Adams continues to be the only real bright spot out in Las Vegas this season. And he gets a Chargers defense that was giving up bukus of points and yards to the Cardinals. I expect the Raiders to be able to do some of the same things. And at the end of the day, the Argonauts look at this point in the season to be the better team, and I think the better team wins. I got the Argonauts winning this matchup as well, 134 to the United Players, 117. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. It's been fun. We are in the home stretch. It's getting really exciting just to see how it all shakes out. This change to the playoffs era, 6 playoff team wild card round was a very, very good call. I'm glad that we did it. It's just made everything much more exciting, especially for us here at PPL Live. You guys have a great weekend. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor.